Hey guys, let me get out of the way here. Got a Weakaura that I'd like to show. Let me kill these 3 mobs or 4 mobs real quick and see if something drops, and then I'll show you how it works.
I need to get
Battle shout.
more rage.
So this is a Weakaura that a guild member had asked me if it was something that I could do for them. Oh, there's 5 now. I'll probably definitely get it here.
It's too far away.
Oh, that hunter.
I can't.
It's probably a bot. Ungilded 60 hunter. Definitely not a bot. But anyway, after our raids, we generally run our raids so fast that that loot slows us down. We don't loot we don't hand out loot until the raid is over. So we get back to Stormwind and we give the loot out there. Okay, there. So that's the Weakaura. So it does a big gift icon. Depending on, and right now I've got it set for Winterfall Ecos. You see I'm looting other stuff, it's not popping up. And let me show you the Weakaura real quick. But the idea behind this originally was for, I'm going to turn the sound off. The idea behind this originally was, hey, we go so fast through our raid that I don't really get a chance to see what drops. Like, I'm not always looking over here in the window. And I only need, let's say you're running AQ40. Let's say your only thing you care about is if Badge of the Swarm Guard drops, or if Gauntlets of Annihilation drop, or whatever. Like, you don't want anything in the raid. You have everything except for 1 item or 2 items. So you don't want to. Then you're asking people, hey, did this drop? Did that drop? And some people are like, I don't. Maybe they did. I don't know. Whatever. But also, there's times where you just want to leave. Like, you have other things to do. You want to go start farming. Usually after our 40-man raids, the big 40-man raids like Nax and AQ40, and even sometimes I think BWL, we have a team of people that will drop out of the raid and they will go start clearing a DMT, Dire Maul Tribute run, so that people can go and get their buffs right away, which is nice. So right after loot, you could say, hey, invite me to the DMT group and then, summon me. But that group can't, if those people need loot, they can't leave. So this Weakaura kind of, helps them to, it's like a flag to let you know, hey, stay after the raid because something that drop that you want, in the loot table. So I'm going to go over it real quick. It's very, very simple. So it's this giant display. And it's a giant display. It could be obviously dragged anywhere on the screen because I wanted it to be obvious. Because usually right after a boss fight, there's not a lot going on. There's not, AoE effects going on. There's not. Sometimes if it's a smaller icon, you can kind of miss it. So I made it larger and I put it right in the middle of the screen for me. Obviously, you can just drag it around. And then it has a glow, so you can choose to have the glow or not. And then for those people who are not familiar with Weakauras, I'm not going to get into super detail about how they work. I might do a different video for that. It's a very simple Weakaura, and it's just this icon will show up based on different triggers. And you can add as many triggers as you want, as long as you make sure that this drop down says any triggers. If it's changed to all triggers, it will only go off if every single piece of that loot drops from the same boss, which is not really possible. So make sure it stays on any trigger. There's really nothing else in here. I have it set to load no matter what character you're on. If you want to change it to raid, you can. So you can say change it to group type raid or party. So you just double click or you click that again. So you could say only in party or in raid. I have it loaded all the time because, like I said, I want it to alert me when I'm farming and certain items drop. It's really good for Winterfall, Winterfall Ecos, because if you're grouped with multiple people when you're farming those here, and someone else loots one and it shows up in the loot window, that alerts you to go in, that you need to go and loot a dead body somewhere, essentially. but you can change it to be, you know, only in raids or only in knacks or whatever the case may be. So the way that it works is it looks for the chat message and looks for the loot as the message type, and then the message contains, and then you just put in the name of the loot that you want it to track. So for me, I still need Cloak of Suturing from Nax for my flask set, so I have it to alert me if that drops. And you can't put multiple things in here. So if you want to track multiple things, then you have to hit duplicate and then create a new trigger, and then the next one would be Kiss of the Spider, because I want to know if Kiss of the Spider drops. Then you can hit duplicate, get another one, and then this is Drakefang. This is for Drakefang Talisman, but you don't have to spell out the entire thing. So if you wanted it to like in Nax, let's move this over here. So if you put, and let's say AQ40, there's Imperial Karaji Regalia and Imperial Karaji Armaments. If in this message you put in Imperial Karaji and didn't finish it out, it will alert you if either one of those two drops. So it does partial matches, but if you put in Imperial Karaji Armaments, it will not alert you if the Regalia drops. So that can be handy for something like, I know that a ton of, so desecrated bindings, desecrated gloves. So everything is called desecrated. Trying to think of when you might want to just have it be maybe an AQ40. Karaji Bindings of Command, Dominance. Yeah, so, but for something with a super long name, so like Badge of the Swarm Guard, you could just do Badge of the. Because there's no other, as long as there's no other loot in the game that has Badge of the, which I don't know if there is or not. Or like Scaled Leggings of Karaji Fury, you could just put in Scaled Leggings. And anytime Scaled Leggings drop, it'll alert you. So you don't have to put in Gauntlets of Steadfast Determination. You probably just don't want to put in Gauntlets because it'll alert you anytime any loot that has Gauntlets in it drops. But you could probably just do Gauntlets of Steadfast. So that's why mine earlier just said Drakefang. Because I think there is a Drake Talon Cleaver in BWL, but there's not a... Is that on Trash? So these are not a close enough match. I don't remember who drops the Cleaver. Drake Talon Cleaver. And I'm looking for Drake Fang Talisman. Yeah. So you don't have to type in the full thing. And also you can do case sensitive. You know, I'm typing it in with uppercase, but you don't have to do it that way. And then the next thing I have here is obviously the Winterfall. And you can shift click stuff out of your bags. So you can just do shift click and it'll automatically put it in. And then I just showed obviously that works because it popped up. But you could do this for if you're farming Elemental Earth and for some reason you want it to alert you whenever you get an Elemental Earth, you can have it go off. You can do it if you're, like I said, it's useful if you're farming in a group and there's certain things that drop that you either need to know about, like if you're farming the Chimera Chops or, I don't know. You could probably find more uses for it than what I have so far. And again, I'm only tracking a handful of things because there's only a handful of things that I actually care about that drop in the raids that I go to. But if you're someone who's full BIS or near BIS or whatever, and you only care about like one item in AQ40 and one item in BWL and one item in Nax, you can put those in that Weakaura. And then as long as you don't ever see that icon popped up during the raid, then you don't have to go attend the loot session. You can go do other stuff. Some people like to go do the loot sessions anyway, just because they want to see, who gets what and, whatever. And sometimes, like I said, people forget what dropped, and then when you're in there getting the loot, they'll say, "Oh yeah, I totally forgot that drop. Sweet, so and so got that." But if you don't care about that stuff, like I said, and you've got other things to do, or you have to farm, or your time, you don't want to just sit there for the next half hour doing loot. This Weakaura is originally I really was like, yeah, I can make that Weakaura for you. It should be very simple, but it's I don't. Why don't you just go and attend the loot session? Like, what's the big deal? It's not doesn't last that long, but after I've been using it now, mainly to track these Winterfall ecos, because usually I'm grouped with people. I just logged in to do this stream real quick. I was playing an alt and I decided to do this stream. It's really handy for the Winterfalls because if you're grouped with somebody, like let's say me and this dude are grouped, I could stay up here and he could stay down there, and as long as I'm in range to see his loot pop up in the chat window, that Weakaura will go off, and I'll know I need to head down there and look at dead bodies to see what's sparkling because there's an eco down there somewhere. It's really handy for that. And like I said, there's probably other spots and other scenarios where it could be handy for whatever reason. Maybe raid leaders, it would be handy for raid leaders. I don't do loot during the raid, so I don't know. But it is pretty cool, and I kind of like it. I originally was going to delete it after I made it for the guild member that asked for it. But I think I'm going to keep it. Even after I am full bis, I'll probably still use it at the very least for the Winterfall ecos. But also, like, if you're farming thorium, you can actually, I might just go ahead and do that. So you just hit duplicate, and then it's just going to duplicate that one, and then all you got to change is this, and then just say, like, arcane crystal. So that way I don't have to look down here. I'm just going to get a pop-up right in the middle. And then the duration down here, that's how long that gift stays on the screen. So originally I had it set for 5 seconds, and that was kind of a little too long, and I changed it to 3. 1 second is probably too short because especially in a raid, there might be some things going on. There might be, like Resuvius, for example, he usually dies and then somebody loots, and then you still have to deal with the ads, and sometimes you might not notice, this giant pop-up if it only lasts 1 second. So you can change the duration if you want. You just change it to 2 and then hit OK, or change it to 6 or whatever. That's just how long it'll stay there before it fades away. So that's it. Pretty simple. I'll put this in my on my profile on Wigo, and then I'll put a link to that in the description for the video. And then, if you guys like it, just download it and use it. It's, like I said, it's a very simple, very easy Weakaura. I'm sure there's other ones out there. I just wrote this one because I knew it would be quick and easy. So, all right, guys, I'll see you in the next video.